So I was 29 and I was opening my own envelopes, and I realized that, as time got on with my caseload, I was spending 2 hours opening envelopes on Sunday nights away from my little adorable daughters, and they were babies, and I was opening envelopes. So I realized there's something wrong here.
This is gonna be amazing. You got a lot of people on this call today.
I think the biggest miss that people make in terms of selling it.
And that's what a good marketing message, good branding does.
How does somebody do something big in a very short period of time?
Okay, so Craig, tell us, how do we mess more stuff up so that we can just be okay with mistakes being made? Because Craig is supposedly the master of delegation. We talked yesterday, and Craig runs an 8-figure law firm in Florida. There's probably, I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 firms doing that much in Florida. He's built just not arguably, one of the best run firms in the United States. It's jaw dropping. So you'd think, Craig, there's no way he's a control freak, right? He's so good at delegating, right? He doesn't make any mistakes. That's right. Am I right, Craig? Right?
Absolutely. 100% right. No mistakes.
So tell us about the realities. You said some very edgy comments to me yesterday about the raw truth of when you first start delegating things at a higher level.
Sure. So I started my firm in 2002, which was about 18 years ago. And I had one employee, and I went out on my own with not a clue. And I had about 65 cases, which I took from my prior firm ethically. And I didn't know anything. But I found that the need for delegation came really quickly. And my type A personality was such that it was really hard for me to delegate, because I had all these same problems that everybody else is noting with ego and fear and how you delegate and why you delegate. So I had to figure out a way to let go. And it was hard. So there's 3 parts to the analysis that I've kind of identified as to the keys to delegation. And let me say that in 18 years, which is a while, but I'm now 60 employees, 10 attorneys, 2 offices, and 8 figures in gross revenue per year. And I've gotten to be where I love my job and I love how much I delegate. And the funny thing you asked me before, I think you asked me yesterday, Bill, is one of my reactions as a really micromanaging type A person. It's funny for me because people ask me, well, how do you do this? How do you do that? And I'm like, I have absolutely no idea how most things happen in my law firm now. And at first that was really uncomfortable. I was like, oh my God, how do I not even know what SEO company we use? No offense, Bill. How do you not even know, anything? And my key is that I had to let go and realize that in some areas, the less you know, the better as a micromanager. Because if you start to know about it, you start to want to micromanage it. And as a type A person, I had to get out of that mindset. Because as soon as I dip my toe in something, one of my team leaders say, you effed it up, Craig. As soon as you dipped your toe in it, you screwed up the process, because you don't know all the ins and outs, and you don't know that we spent 20 hours creating the process. And as soon as you dipped your toe in, it got all effed up. So my number 1 rule of delegation, you asked me yesterday, Bill, is when you start delegating, let it get effed up. Create a process, let the mistakes occur, because that's how your staff and your leadership team and whoever's on your team, whether it's 1 person or 60 people, you've got to let the mistake occur before you can figure out a process and a policy and a procedure for that thing to occur correctly. Let it get messed up. So over the last 18 years, I've let things go so that they can get effed up. Therefore, I can notice what happened in the process and fix it. And that empowers the people in your office to know that they have the authority to try a process, to have a mistake be made, and then you empower them to come up with a solution. When I was 29 years old, I was a lawyer for 4 years. And at that point, I was so type A and anal that I would come in and open my own mail. Okay. So there's probably lawyers on this
Don't
call.
be so hard on yourself,
Yeah.
Craig. A lot of people do that.
Right. Well, you literally open the envelope, you unfold it, and you read it because you're so type A that you want to be the person opening the envelope. So I was 29, and I was opening my own envelopes, and I realized that, you know, as time got on with my caseload, I was spending 2 hours opening envelopes on Sunday nights away from my little adorable daughters, and they were babies, and I was opening envelopes. So I realized there's something wrong here, because I was so type A that I wanted to open the mail so I could control what happened with it and make sure it got to the right employees. And at that point, maybe I had 2 employees, and I wanted to make sure it got to the right employee and that it was handled appropriately, and it was put in the right envelope of mail, because back then we didn't scan things. We just gave mail in an envelope, you know, a big manila envelope to each person. So I realized that that opening mail was not the greatest use of my time. So I stopped opening mail, and I let an employee do it, and she made some mistakes and distributed it to the wrong employees. And what that made me realize is that I had to create a procedure for the correct way to distribute mail. Now that sounds pretty basic, but everyone on this call probably has, maybe in writing, maybe not, the procedure for how your mail gets dealt with, whether it's hard copy mail or emailed things or stuff that comes in through text messages. But you may or may not have procedures. But if you don't let it get screwed up and you hold it on to yourself because you have one employee or just you're never going to know the mental process or the physical process of what happens with mail. So that's just one basic example for me from when I was 29 as to letting something get screwed up because you're not doing it yourself. If you do it yourself, you're never going to get it wrong because you're perfect. And you're the only guy who can do it the right way. So if you keep doing it yourself, it's always going to be perfect, but you're always going to be doing it. And once you're always going to be doing it, you're not going to grow, you're not going to scale. So we can take the mail example of opening mail, and there are probably 1,000 or 2,000 tasks that are done in a law firm, maybe more, depending on your law firm. And if you break each one of those down, there's a procedure for each of those tasks. And if you let each one of them fail, or you analyze each one of them, then you can figure out the proper procedure for that task or that process.
So Craig offered 3 points yesterday when we talked. Why delegate in the first place? Why are business owners afraid of delegation? And then last but not least, how to delegate. What I'm going to go back to, Craig, is the number one point for a lawyer who's like, I get it. Stuff's got to mess up. I got to give it up. Why delegate though? Like, why even do this?
So I broke the why delegate down into 3 reasons. The first is to get to a point where you're doing what you love. That's really important. Lisa was talking about, I can tell from Lisa talking that she loves what she does now. She enjoys her day. I really, really like my day. A lot of people talk about putting fires out all day. I haven't put out a fire in 5 years. I don't put out fires all day because there are no fires at my office that get to my level. I have firemen protect me. My team managers are all firemen. No fires get to my desk. It's great. I love my job. So number one reason to delegate is to do what you love. So what you do is you identify maybe the 5 things you love to do best. With me, it's growth, it's marketing, it's strategy, it's employee engagement. If you can identify the things you like to do, I love networking, I love being out, I'm an extrovert. If you can identify the things you love to do, and you can recognize that's your skill set, then you can structure your delegation of the things you hate. I did not like being a trial lawyer. I was a trial lawyer for 12 years. I had 20, 30 trials. I got good verdicts. I was not happy. I was good at it. I was not happy. So I realized 10, 12 years ago that I wanted to move to a CEO of my company. That's all I am. So I am now a CEO because that's my favorite thing to do, is to manage. So the number one reason to delegate is to get to a point where you do what you like to do. The second reason to delegate is very simple. It's the only way to grow. If you want to grow your income, if you want to scale, if you want to increase the size of your company, and some people don't want to do that, I did, then the only way to grow and scale is to delegate things and take them off your plate. It's a very simple concept, but you can't grow unless you delegate. Again, if you're opening the mail for 2 hours on a Sunday night, you're not doing other things. They're going to lead to growth. And the third reason is what I call it's a medical analogy. It's called leveraging your time through lawyer extenders. Leveraging your time through lawyer extenders. And the analogy I use is when you go to the doctor's office, you see these days, you see what's called a physician's assistant, also known as a PA. Now, doctors can bill for the physician's assistant or the ARNP, the Advanced Registered Nurse Practitioner. Those are all called physician's doctor extenders in the medical field. Nobody has brought that into the legal field as a concept, but I have. Every single employee you have, including your associates, your attorneys, your paralegals, are lawyer extenders. So what they do is they extend your time, they extend your influence and your growth beyond your skill set. So all 60 employees that I have are what I call lawyer extenders, and that leads to growth. So I thought I'd bring in that medical analogy because people understand. You see the PA, the physician's assistant, when you go to the doctor. You might see the ARNP when you go to the doctor. Those are all physician's extenders. These are lawyer extenders. So those are 3 reasons that I came up with as to the why.